We are absolutely terrible at change. New Year's resolutions, we fail at them. Anytime we have an idea of changing who we are, we typically fail. And in fact, not only 9% of Americans actually achieve their New Year's resolutions. If I'm being completely honest, I've probably forgotten more New Year's resolutions than I have actually achieved them. So, in this video, I want to break down not only why this is, but what can we do differently? And before you stop and go, Raylen, that's not me. Stop lying, okay? Let's take a minute, stop lying to yourself, and let's figure out what we can do a little bit differently. So in this video, we're gonna be taking a look at 2 books that I believe can, 1, help us identify what is so damn hard about change, and then 2, what are some real actionable steps that we could take to change our behavior. The example I'm gonna be using is this year's goal that I have of doubling my subscriber count. The 2 books in question are these bad boys. First, let me get this out of the way. First is gonna be this beauty of a book, The Courage to be Disliked, and Atomic Habits by James Clear. Now, you probably have heard me talk about this one a lot, but we're gonna start with this one. The reason why is because this details out why exactly we can't seem to really make significant change in our lives. Funny enough, this book actually has an entire chapter dedicated to what exactly we're talking about. I think it's on page 31. And the number one reason why we don't change, why we don't create the habits we want to create, is actually because of this reason right here. You see that? Because people always choose not to change. If you've been around the channel a little bit, you probably have seen this book, The Courage to be Disliked. It's becoming like one of my favorite reads. The book is really interesting because it takes a philosopher and a young man who is going back and forth discussing the new way of being, this new way of thinking about things. And in this, they talk about the reason why this young man doesn't want to change. And this is something that he says in there that I think kind of explains pretty well what we're talking about here. Something that he says, he goes, although there are some small inconveniences and limitations, you probably think that the lifestyle you have now is a more practical one, and that it's easier to leave things as they are. And if you stay just like this, experiences enable you to respond properly to events as they occur. You could say it's like driving an old familiar car. It might rattle a little bit, but one can take that into account and maneuver easily. On the other hand, if one chooses a new lifestyle, no one can predict what might happen to the new self or have any idea how to deal with the events as they arise. You see, the reason why, according to this book, that we don't want to change is because we are kind of scared of the new way of being. Even though we may not love how things are right now, it's really easy to sit back and do nothing because we know what this is like. Let me give you a kind of a real world example. So I have this friend, right? Let's say his name is Jerry. Jerry comes to me one day, he goes, Raylen, I'm tired of having anxiety. I have all this anxiety about every little thing, and I just want to be able to get rid of it. So I asked him this random question that seems to kind of address a little bit what we're talking about today. And I asked him, hey, is there any chance that you having anxiety serves you? Meaning like you benefit from it? And of course, he said, absolutely not. You know, like I can't stand not having these panic attacks. I feel like it limits what I can do and what I can't do. I hate being in public. All these things come up. And I said, well, what do you do when you feel that anxiety? What do you do to get out of it? And he said, well, I post about it. He said, I really want people to know that it's okay to go through something like anxiety and still be able to battle through it, which I think is incredibly honorable. But here's the interesting thing. Again, I go back and I said, hey, when people respond and give you love, how does that make you feel? Because it makes me feel seen and heard and it gives me attention. So here's the hard part, right? Here's the triggering question. Is there any chance that you want attention and therefore your mind creates the anxiety? Because we have trained ourselves to go, hey, when I get anxiety, I get attention, and attention I like. So anytime that I want more attention, I just need to have more anxiety. And so you don't want to necessarily get rid of your anxiety, because then you wouldn't have attention. It's a bold thought process, but this is kind of what the book is saying. And so anyway, even the extreme of something that is like, I want to get rid of my anxiety, or this year I want to be able to get into shape. Oddly enough, even though it seems like those things don't serve you anymore, it still does. It's beneficial. You just got to figure out, how is it beneficial? Is that something you still want? So now we understand why it's hard to change. And really, there's no other reason other than ourselves and the fact that we choose not to change. But also this bleeds very well into the next book that we're talking about, which is Atomic Habits. That's great and all that, we know why, but what do we actually do about it? So this is where James Clear's Atomic Habit comes into place. So there's 4 actual things we could do and to make our habits be a little bit easier to achieve and to do this. But first, we have to acknowledge the fact that goals are dumb. Now, it took me a while to come around to this, but there's a reason why, for example, New Year's resolutions don't really work out. It's because we believe that if I hit X goal, right? You know, for me, for example, when I first started this video and I was kind of doing the research for it, I said, well, the New Year's resolution that I wanted to do is in this year, I want to double my subscribers. And what's funny is when we have goals like this, we think once I hit that goal, my life will change. Once I hit that goal, I'll feel better about myself, or whatever the reason is you want to do it. So we create the outcomes to do it, but once you get there, you lose the habit. It's not about winning and getting to that outcome. It's about creating a new habit that you just stick with forever and be continuously being able to play the game. And so it made me shift a little bit of how I was thinking about it. So the first thing is first, don't create a goal. Don't create a New Year's resolution, so to speak, in that end goal, but to create a habit. What do you want to do each and every day? Who do you want to show up as each and every day? And then as a result of who you show up as, you'll be able to hit that goal. Is inevitable, whatever that goal is, and more to come. It is clear that we have to change who we are. I just smacked the mics hard. It's clear that we have to change who we are from the identity point to achieve the goal. Because the truth is, if you, as you today, had the right habits, were already set up for success, you would have already hit and achieved the goal you wanted to achieve. So we have to change our identity, because who you are today is not going to be the person that hits the next goal. So with that being said, there's 4 things that James Clear says we need to do in order to actually achieve our goals. So the first thing is make it obvious. The goal initially I had was I wanted to double my YouTube channel, right? Which is not that crazy of a thing. Right now, I think we're at like 500 subscribers. We want to get to 1,000. So that initially was the goal, but I wanted to make it more obvious of what action needed to happen in order to achieve that, right? I wanted to shift from, kind of obscure number to something a little bit more specific, which was I want to create 2 videos a week. Because in my head, right, if you backtrack it, if I become someone who creates 2 videos a week, each and every week, it's inevitable that out of all those videos that we'll hit our goal. And it's more important for me to get in the habit of creating 2 videos a week than it is just the number of 1,000 views, or 1,000 subscribers. Like, that doesn't really matter as much as it is creating the new identity of someone that creates content every single week. So the next thing is you have to make it attractive. This one's a little bit difficult, especially when we talk about something as random as content creation. So how can we make it attractive? So for me, when it comes to the content creation side, because I own a business as well, it is kind of attractive to me to grow an audience and to continually create, right? And when I stick to this habit, there's more people that's going to see my content, which then could lead to more business for me. So the attractive part is obviously the being able to monetize the channel. That's pretty attractive. But if you're talking about something else like fitness or health or anything like that, you have to throw in, I think, some things that you really do enjoy to make it worth your while and make you want to do. Like right now, luckily, I'm really into the creation process. I get really excited about doing it, but I'm sure there's going to be a time where it's not that exciting to me. So that's why I kind of stick with the whole concept of the business and the monetization of it, because that's something more long-term, and who doesn't like money? So number 3 is make it easy. So for me, this is actually why, and I normally am not the one that says you need to buy certain things to be able to do what you want to do, especially when it comes to content creation. People make excuses a lot saying, hey, I need certain gear, I need certain devices or skills even to be able to start. And I think that's usually a pretty big excuse. However, I recently bought the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, and it has made things so easy when it comes to creating more content. I literally just pull out. I used to make excuses, right? Because I had to get my phone, I had to get the gimbal, I had to get the lighting and all this stuff. But now there's a reason why I film a lot of this stuff outside, and I use the Pocket 3 because I can just pull it on my pocket, hit record, and we're good to go. Throw a mic on, outside lighting is fine, who cares? The other part is, if you notice, if you go back to some of my old content, I don't edit as heavily. Because again, I wanted to make it easy. I don't want to spend tons of hours. I have to hire somebody to help me. I just want to be able to get it out, make it easy as possible, and make it not painful to actually do it. So that was some of the things I did to make this process easier. Now, the third and final James Clear recommends is to make it satisfying. And this is why I made this rule that if I film that day, I have to publish that day. I've done videos before, for example, that's taken me a month long. And it becomes this long, drawn-out process that I don't enjoy. It's not satisfying to me. And then finally, when I hit record, it's almost like immediately I'm like, oh, I gotta go through that long process again. So again, coming around to this year and how I'm changing that is to make it satisfying, I gotta publish it that day. It's very satisfying to hit the publish button and then see some initial people's reactions, right? And having a small community of people I can send it to and say, hey, what are your thoughts? So those are the 4 things that we could do this year, or at any point you want to change our life, to actually make change. First is changing our identity, shifting and realizing that if we want to change, we have to be the person that makes the choice. And second, I think we should follow James Clear's kind of brilliant system of not creating goals, but instead creating systems, making it obvious, making it attractive, making it easy, and obviously making it satisfying. My habit that I'm going to be creating is the habit of creation. Becoming someone who is a content creator. But I want to hear from you. Going into this year, one, are you creating a New Year's resolution, or are you just simply trying to change a new habit? You're not participating in New Year's resolutions at all? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, let me know what you think about the video. Hit the like button, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I'll catch you all in the next video.